I think it starts recording before it actually lets me know. So anyway, we'll see. Okay. Hi guys. Welcome back. I am going to teach you section 13.4. So remember we taught you the first part of chapter 13, right? All different sections, and it was a no calculator chapter. You were supposed to take the test on Tuesday. That didn't happen. We hopefully were when we get back, then we'll give you a test then after we review, and it'll all work out just fine. But anyway, so had we been in school, you would have taken a test with the no calculator part, and then today we would have started the same chapter, but doing the things that now you need a calculator, right? So that's what we're going to start today is we're going to go back to section 4, but now we're going to use our calculator. Don't forget, you got to use that TI 30 XIIS, yeah, and to do it. And that's the only calculator that you can use. And all right, I'm going to switch over to my Elmo. There we go. Okay, let me get rid of this because that's annoying. Yes, I know I'm presenting to everyone. Bye-bye. Okay. All right, here we go. So you should probably take notes so that you can refer to it later. All right. Okay, so this is 13.4, and now it's approximate values of the trig and circular functions. Because you've memorized some of the trig values, right? You've memorized those special angles. Don't let those go out of your head. You need to keep those memorized. You've memorized the exact values of the trig functions of the special angles. Right? So the special angles were 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, and then the quadrantals. So 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees. And then all of the angles that you can go around the circle and use those reference angles, we were able to find all of those also. So remember, remember cosine of 45 degrees was rad 2 over 2, and sine of 30 degrees, you knew that was the short triangle, and sine is the height, so that's just 1/2. And then you knew tangent of 60 degrees, which was rad 3. So all of those values are ones that you're able to do, no calculator needed, because you've memorized those special angles. What happens though when we want to know what the cosine of 37 degrees is, right? 37 degrees is not one that's special. It's not one of those guys. So we use our calculators to find the rest. So we use our calculators when the angles are not special. Right. Okay. So for all of our questions that we're going to do on the test, on the quiz, everything, we're going to say round to 4 decimal places. The book is going to say sig figs. Book says significant figure, right? Sig figs. We're not going to do sig figs. We're going to round to 4 decimal places every time. Okay, so just do that on every problem. All right, let's do an example. I can ask you what the cosine of 77.9 degrees is. Yeah, and you don't know, like that is definitely not a special angle, right? It's not 30 or 45 and all of that. So you have to use your calculator. So here's my TI30XXXIIS. Yeah. All right. So first thing you want to do is make sure you are in degree mode because of that little degree symbol right there, right? Make sure calculator is in degree mode. on your calculator, not rad. You can see it right here. Mine says deg. If it's not, you hit DRG, and there's degrees, radians, and then you're not going to see that radians, right? But if you needed radians, you would hit rad. I'll go back and change it to degrees. Use the arrows. Okay, so it's now under degrees, and it's just a matter of easy peasy. Hit cosine 77.9, and you're in degree mode. So when you hit enter, you are going to get 0.20961. So 0.2096. That one says keep it as a 6, right? And 4 decimal places. Decimal point, 4 numbers after. Easy peasy, right? Well, they don't all stay like that. What about cosecant of 4.9 degrees? All right, now, if you look at your calculator, you see a sine, you see cosine, you see tangent. There is no cosecant button. No button for it. But we do know things about cosecant, right? What do we know about cosecant? It's the reciprocal of one we do know, and one that we know is on this calculator, right? We know that, how far could it go? Like this. All right, so here we know that cosecant of any angle is 1 over sine, right? It's the reciprocal of sine. I know secant, I might as well give you all of them right now because there's only three of the trig functions are on your calculator, only sine, cosine, and tangent. So when you go to do the reciprocals, we know secant of theta is 1 over cosine, and we know cotangent is 1 over tangent. So that's what we're going to be using if they ask us for cosecant, secant, or cotangent. Now, it's really important that I point this out to you right now. Do you see right above sine in yellow right there? It says sine, and then with a -1 looks like an exponent. That's not a -1 exponent. That is not the reciprocal of sine. That yellow part right there is not cosecant. That's actually inverse sine, right? You learned about inverse sine. That's finding, like if I were to hit that and go and try to find rad 3 over 2, it's going to give me 60 degrees, right? If I do inverse sine of rad 3 over 2. So that's what that is. It's the inverse sine. It's going to give you the angle answer if you put in the trig ratio after it. So but what I want to say, what you need to know is don't you dare use that right now. Not for cosecant. That's not cosecant. This guy is not secant, and that is not cotangent. No, no, no. Instead, we're just going to do 1 over. Okay, so to find cosecant of 4.9 degrees, it's equal to 1 over sine of that same angle. And that's what you'll put in your calculator. You'll hit 1 divided by sine of 4.9 degrees. All right, so let's add this down. All right, so I go 1 divided by sine of 4.9. Hit enter, and I get 11.70728. Now, I'm rounding to 4 decimal places, so I need to round to this spot, but the 8 says round it up. And so your answer will be 11.7073. Still not too bad, right? Hopefully. I think so. Let's do another one. How about tangent of 85 degrees, 18 minutes? All right, so there is a button on your calculator for this. Okay, so we have a tangent button, so not a problem. How do you get this minutes? Oh, so you probably don't know what minutes are yet, huh? Okay, so let's do that to the side. Okay, so degrees means degrees. One little slash means minutes. and 2 little slashes like that means seconds. We'll go into more detail on that later, but what you need to know is that's just like, it's kind of like if you were to take a foot and then break it up into um, centimeters and then millimeters. Like that's, there's actually 60 seconds in a minute, and there's 60 minutes in 1 degree. They match up with like our time, so that works out well. But anyway, so they're just, it's breaking it up into, instead of it being 85 whole degrees, it's more than that. It's 85 degrees, but it's not 86 degrees. There's 85 degrees with just a little bit more. Yeah. So we have a button on our calculator for this. So um, this button right there says degrees, minutes, seconds. And if you hit that, you'll see degrees. Whoops. Try that again. Degrees. The next guy is minute. This one is second. That's radians. It's a quick way, if you're in degree mode, to switch it back to radian, to just do radian for one problem. We don't ever need to use that either, though. But okay, so here's what you'll do. You'll hit tangent of 85. You'll hit that degrees, minute, second button. Degrees is underlined, so you'll hit enter. And then it was 18 seconds. So hit 18, hit that degree, minute, second button again, arrow to the right, the little minute symbol is underlined, hit enter, and now it shows tangent of 85 degrees, 18 minutes, hit enter, and I get 12.16323. So the 3 says keep it. Yeah. All right. Let's do another one. Let's do cosine of 1.17. Now, I've been warning you for a whole chapter that if you drop that little degree symbol off, it's not just a little tiny symbol that doesn't mean anything. It means a lot, right? There is no degree symbol here, which tells me that this is radians. It means you need to be in radian mode on your calculator. Yeah. So I'll hit DERG, DRG, right? DERG, DERG. Arrow to the right. It's radians is underlined. Hit enter, and sure enough, right down there it says rad. You can have a rad time. Right. All right. So now we can just hit cosine of 1.17 and hit enter, and it gives me 0.39015. So that 5 is going to tell me to round that 1 up to a 2. And there's your answer for that one. Let's do another one. How about secant of negative 2.5? Yeah. You got to make sure you realize that if there's no degree symbol, it's not a typo, right? No degree symbol tells you that is still radians. So you got to be in radian mode on your calculator. Some of you asked me back when we were doing algebra, does it matter? Do you need to be in degree mode or radian mode? No, not until you're in trig. When we're doing trig of an angle, then it matters. You got to say what angle that is. Yeah. All right. So how do I do secant though? Secant, I don't have a button on my calculator for secant. And that little cosine with the little negative 1 on it is not secant. That's not 1 over. That's inverse cosine. Right? So, but I know secant is 1 over cosine of the same angle. No big deal if it's negative. We'll just hit the negative in there. You do have to make sure that you use this negative button down here, not the minus sign, right? Or else it will give you an error. All right, so we'll do 1 divided by cosine of negative 2.5. I'm still in radian mode. Calculator doesn't care if you end that last parenthesis, so I never do because don't need to. They'll give you the same answer if you close the parenthesis or you don't. So hit enter, and I get that this is negative 1.248, and then after the 2 is a 1, so I'll keep it a 2. Yeah? Okay. So those are pretty straightforward. Hopefully you agree. I didn't do a cotangent one, but you would just use 1 divided by tangent. No, you'll see ones like that too. All right, let's do some different type that you're going to see, and that is we can find the angles if given the trig function values. This is the same type of problem of when I said, um, you know, on special ones, you didn't need a calculator, right? I could say to you, what's inverse sine of 1/2? Right? And you knew that would be the short triangle, right? And you would write, oh, that's pi over 6 or 30 degrees, right? If it was in degree mode. Yeah. And things like that. So remember, that's what inverse sine is. That's your ratio. That's your angle. Okay, so let's do ones. Now we're going to be doing ones where they weren't memorized values, right? You memorized 1/2 and read 3 over 2 and read 2 over 2 and things like that, right? Now it's going to be decimals, right? That we don't know the angle, but we can find it using our calculator. So, what if I say to you, theta is equal to inverse sine of 0.9353, and remember I told you your author uses theta to represent degrees, so that means it's degree mode. And when it's in degree mode, we're going to go to 2 decimal places. Because now our answers that we're going to be given are angles, right? So this is saying sine of what angle is equal to 0.9353. Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to put that in my calculator. Now that guy is that little yellow sign with the little -1 there. Yeah? So I'm going to hit second sine to bring up inverse sine, and then I'll type in the 0.9353. Make sure you didn't hit any typos. Oh, if I hit enter, I'm going to get a wrong answer because I'm still in radian mode right now. No big deal. Hit DRG, switch it back to degree mode, enter. Now I'm in degree mode, and now my answer will be correct. Hit enter, and you get that it is 69.276. They want me to round to that 2 decimal places, so my answer will be 69 point, the 6 says round it up, so 28 degrees. Don't forget your degree symbol. Without the degree symbol, you are telling me radians, right? All right. So far, hopefully you're okay. If you're not, pause it. This is the beauty of this, right? You get to pause me. You can rewind me, replay it, see if it makes more sense. And then if it doesn't, you're going to come see me in office hours and ask me questions, right? It's all good. All good. Okay. Let's look at another example, which is a much more complicated example. Giving you a heads up. This one is usually tricky to you. Okay. So I've got theta, that means degree mode, only for this year. Next year when you go to pre-calc, you won't, we don't do that. No. But for this book, theta, the author says is degrees. So degree mode, yeah. And theta equals inverse cotangent of this guy. So I know I don't have an inverse cotangent button on my calculator. I need to use tangent. But you got to be careful. So here's what I recommend you do. This statement means that cotangent of theta is equal to 1.452, right? That's what inverse cotangent means. It means cotangent of some angle, theta, is equal to the 1.452. Now, I don't have a button on my calculator for inverse cotangent, but I do for inverse tangent. And I know cotangent and tangent are reciprocals, right? So I go cotangent of theta. Well, I know that means tangent of theta would equal 1 over this value, since they're reciprocals, right? Highly recommend that you write this. You're going to want to be lazy and not write it and skip steps, and then you're going to get it wrong on the test. I'm telling you that right now, right? Rewrite it, right? Tangent is equal to 1 over, since they're reciprocals of each other, and now put it into inverse mode, right? So if this is true, then that means theta is equal to inverse tangent of 1 over 1.452. Yeah, and that I can put on my calculator. We're still in degree mode. Yep. All right, so I'm going to hit second tan to bring up inverse tangent. And I've got 1 divided by 1.452. And I got 34.555. I'm going to go to 2 decimal places, which tells me 34. Oops, I guess I can write it. Okay, so 30, I forgot my whiteout. I'll have whiteout tomorrow. 34 point, it gave me 555. It told me to go to 2 decimal places. The 5 says round that guy up. So 34.56 degrees is what you're going to write as your answer. So highly recommend when you're doing the inverse ones where it's the reciprocal, rewrite it in terms of the function that you will be able to use your calculator for, taking the reciprocal, and then do the inverse tangent, because it's what you're going to want to do. And I don't have that right in here, so I'll write it down here. Notice that this guy is not the same thing. These two guys are not equal. It's not equal to 1 over inverse tangent of 1.452, which is the most common thing that most students want to do. Not the same thing. Nope. Don't do it. They are not the same. So you got to do inverse tangent of the reciprocal of that trig value. Okay. All right. A couple more examples and then we'll be done. Example 8. Find the angle whose x is equal to inverse cosine of 0.2092. So now, again, this author says x means radians, theta means degrees, so this means it's radian mode. So you need to be in radian mode. It's radians. And for radians, they'll tell you to round to 4 decimal places. All right. So, round to 4 decimal places. Too far. There we go. Yeah. So we got inverse cosine of 0.2092. So you need to make sure you're in radian mode. Remember, right now I'm in degree mode, so I'll hit DRG, arrow to the right, hit enter. Now my calculator says rad mode. And I'll just go second cosine. That brings up inverse cosine, 0.2092, enter. And I get x is approximately, going to give me 1.36003. All right, so that means that I'm going to give 1.3600 as an answer going to 4 decimal places. Yeah. All right, one last example. Here we go. X is equal to inverse cosecant of 10. So again, x, radian mode. Now, so you make sure your calculator is in radian mode. Cosecant inverse cosecant, I do not have a button for on my calculator, right? And yeah, we don't have it. All right, so, and it's one of the reciprocals. So recommend that what you do is you go cosecant of x is equal to 10. These two statements are equivalent now. And then that means cosecant is the reciprocal of, hopefully you just said sine, yay, 1 over, no, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to write it as, it's true, it's 1 over sine is equal to 10. That's true, but I like to go. That means sine of x, definitely need my whiteout, is equal to 1 over 10. I take the reciprocal of the number. I think it's easier. 1 over sine is equal to 10 is also true. You could do that, but I like to write, all right, that means sine is equal to 1 over 10, right? So then write it with inverse sine. That means x is equal to inverse sine of 1 over 10. And that you can put in your calculator. Yeah? So I'll put inverse sine of 1 divided by 10. Boop. And that gives me a 0.10016. That 6 is going to tell me bump up that 1 to a 2. So my answer will be 0.1002. There you go. All right. Okay, I hope that lesson made sense. If it didn't, you can always pause it, rewind it, watch it again, right? And all right, I will post this on there, and your homework will be on there. I'm hoping that you'll do the homework, take a picture of it, upload it into the Google Classroom, and I can just check it then. And then don't lose it. Bring it to class when we come back. So I see you've got a physical copy of it. And yeah, I hope you guys had a great day today, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay? All right. Have a good one. And I shouldn't have said bye yet because it's going to take me a second to get out of all this. All right, hang on. Do-do-do, boopy-doo. You are presenting. I'm going to stop presenting. And maybe it takes a minute. Maybe. There we go. All right. You guys have a good one. Bye. And